The automobile industry in China feeling the impact of the coronavirus outbreak. But here in Ghana, we want to settle on some news from the automobile sector as well. The Automobile Dealers Union of Ghana has cautioned government against plans to ban the importation of overaged and salvaged vehicles. Minister for Parliamentary Affairs and Majority Leader Osei Mensah Bonsu recently announced a proposal to pass a bill that bans the importation of these cars to help reduce accidents. Responding to this announcement, President of the Automobile Dealers Union of Ghana, Eric Kweku Boateng, said a ban contravenes sections of the automobile policy which give room for 10-year-old vehicles and salvaged vehicles. He's warned of dire consequences should the ban be effected.
We are not going to sit down and fold our arms to come and collapse our business. So what we know is car from 1 year to 10 years can import. And then the salvage, a car which is maybe slight accidental. If I can't say it's accidental, it's a slight use or slight slash. You can, the person can buy if it's bumper, if it's bonnet, if it's whatever, and the person decides to buy those things, it's allowed. But if you say they are going to ban a second-hand vehicles, what do you mean? So on Monday we are going to have a press conference to tell Honorable Mensah that it should come back again. Let the public understand that it's not that they are going to ban a second-hand vehicles, but a car from 11 years, overage cars, is going to ban. Demonstration, no. The country, I don't think they will get enough peace to rest. We will fight to the end. So I don't think we will get there because I'm part of the committee. Then if it's done, then they didn't regard the committee as we, the second-hand dealers, we represented. That is not what we agreed on. But what we agreed is that car from 1 year, 10 years can import. But now you are coming to tell us they are going to ban those cars. No. They should come again. And I don't think Parliament will sit on it, that they are going to ban a second-hand vehicles. No. We are not going to sit down for them to dictate to us. The next step we are going to take up maybe from Monday is that we want our brother, our senior officer, which is Honorable Mensah, to do is that he should come out and apologize on what, because the documents which has been published to the public, it states that car from 1 to 10 years is not a ban. That is what we want to hear from him. He should come out and explain it well. But from 11 years upwards, we accept that. And then after the press conference, we express ourselves to the Ghanaians what the automobile dealers is coming to do to help the automobile industry. For instance, anybody at all can import a car. If we're in your office, you just buy a car from America, Canada, whatever, ship it, whether the car is stolen, whether the car is bounded vehicle, you just import it and go to the port and clear your car, no any regulator. Now the Automobile Dealers Union is coming to look after it and then issue a dealership certificate to every dealer. If you have a dealership certificate, then you have an entitled to import a car to this country.
Ghana's dependence on primary commodities, including gold and cocoa over the years, has once again come under scrutiny. Recently, a story from Bloomberg said when a country is strong in natural resource industries, it can be hard to ignite the kind of manufacturing boom that moved countries like South Korea from rags to riches. Lecturer at the Economics Department of the University of Ghana, Dr. Prista Chumesi Bafo, has been exploring if Ghana can move forward and use other means of propelling the economy instead of continuously relying on the traditional exportable commodities.
I'm quite optimistic about it and say that it depends on us being intentional about trying to structurally change the nature of our economy, really. It said that Rome was not built in a day. It doesn't start, and the dividends don't yield in a year or two. It takes time, right? So it all depends on long-term planning. If you look way back at our era prior to independence, all the development plans that we had, over time we'll see that we always go back to resource dependence, really. And this makes countries quite vulnerable. First of all, it makes us vulnerable due to international prices. Commodity prices go down and everything comes to a halt because of our dependence really on these commodities. The more diversified we are, the more competitive we become on the international market. Then some market power we get to be able to control our destinies in terms of the prices, the goods and services we put out there on the international market. So the story has been the same. But the point is we have to be very intentional about policies that we are putting in place to try to diversify the economy. For example, when you look at the agricultural value chain, what are we doing? What are we doing to add value to the goods and services, the goods that come out of our farms along the chain? And when we do this, we create jobs along the value chain from the farm onto an individual's plate at home. So it's a long-term plan that we need to have. I am not sure whether we will see all the dividends in our lifetime, but somebody needs to take the initiative, and we need to think long-term. When you look at the East Asian economies that are doing well, you look at their development plans, it didn't start yesterday. It's taking decades for them to get to this point. But it appears that, in our lifetime, we have become quite impatient. We want results. For example, in an election cycle, we want results in 4 years. These things take time, sometimes 10, 20, 30 years before we get the dividends of the plans and policies that numerous governments have put in place.
Let's turn attention to something else tonight. To enhance financial literacy education, a group of financial educators and NGOs across the country known as the Alliance of Financial Literacy Organizations have presented a petition to the Finance Ministry. According to AFLO, that's the group, the current state of somewhat broken financial system in the country requires adequate financial literacy for organizations and individuals to help reshape the narrative. Convener of the group, Sednam Ameku, has joined me in the studio to talk a bit more about this. Great to have you in the studio tonight. So saying that we have a group that is trying to promote financial literacy, it seems to say that we're in a dire situation. Well,
yeah, we are.
Tell me about it.
Okay, AFLO actually saw the need for us to educate Ghanaians. We are a group of financial literacy organizations, and actually we do our things on our own. We felt like we were alone in the whole thing, but I brought all the organizations together, some of them apparently, and we decided to present a petition to the ministry. But first of all, we had a press conference where we talked about the essence of financial literacy or financial education and its importance to an economy. We presented a petition, and then we had just 2 acts in the petition. We needed a declaration of Financial Literacy Month, and also a declaration that all financial institutions and then the Ghanaian citizenry should observe the month. Those are the only things we asked for in the petition.
We've come, or we are slowly recovering from a crisis in the banking sector. And so I'm just wondering, to what extent do you think that we could have saved ourselves the stress if we were educated about how to manage our finances, where to invest and all of that?
Okay. I think even Bank of Ghana or our regulators wouldn't have even issued warnings to us, telling us that we shouldn't save with so-and-so bank or so-and-so institution because they've not been accredited, or probably their dealings are not in tune with theirs. If we had that education, we wouldn't be talking about greed.
Okay.
Because these people don't know. They don't know where their monies are going, but they know who they are giving it to. But they don't know what the money would be used for. But if we should have the financial education, they know More than 100%? No, it doesn't sound good. Where is my money going? I want to know. But if we don't have such things, trust me, somebody is going to make a misinformed financial decision. And we need that now to recover.
So the regulator has also spoken about financial literacy. I mean, it's one of the things that they want to concentrate on as they implement the reforms. Yeah. And so it's happening, isn't it? But are you satisfied with the manner in which it is being done? What are you proposing, really?
We are not satisfied. We want more financial education.
Okay.
They started something in 2008, the Financial Literacy Month, and we want it to be revamped. That is why we presented a petition. Assuming we had a whole month to ourselves for financial literacy, it wouldn't be bad at all. Ghana is a developing country, and we need this. Even in the United States and Canada, they have the Financial Literacy Month, even developed countries. So we are looking at partnering or working so hard with the Ministry of Finance so we can revamp the agenda and then have a month that we can educate more Ghanaians about finance.
But what kind of impact do you think you'd really make in a month to hold that? I think that you want to do it annually, but to what extent do you think this would help the everyday person?
Okay, we have about 30 million people in Ghana. First, we had a week. We can't reach everyone with the financial literacy message. Within a month, we, the AFLO, are ready with our activities and waiting on the government to declare the month so we can roll them out.
Activities such as?
Okay, having courses on our platform where people can just sign in, and then those who can use the internet sign in and then check their financial well-being, partnering with other organizations, probably go to the financial institutions, and they are all educating their clientele. Probably the bank, our journalists, talking about financial literacy here and there, having them on the panel talking about financial literacy, at least for a month. If this should go on, trust me, Ghanaians will be financially educated.
Sedinam Ameku, your convener for the Alliance of Financial Literacy Organizations. It's a great thing you're doing, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Going forward. I pray and hope that you get some good response from the Finance Ministry. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thank you too.
Well, finance ministers and central bank governors in West Africa began another round of meetings in Sierra Leone over the possible introduction of the single currency, the ECO. George Rafe has more on the gathering.
The ministers and the central bank governors will in the next 2 days, that is from this morning to Friday, be deliberating on several issues. Key among them is the region's preparedness for the introduction of the single common currency, that is the ECO. We understand that the larger economies in the English-speaking bloc, that is Ghana and Nigeria, may raise issues on the difficulty in going ahead and issue the currency this year as planned. There will also be formally raising concerns over the decision by the French-speaking countries in the West African region to go ahead and change the CFA franc to the ECO without the blessings of the whole ECOWAS region. Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, at a recent engagement with journalists, noted that going ahead to introduce the ECO this year might be difficult. This is due to the fact that several structures that should be in place before the issuance of the common currency are yet to be established. But in all these, the political leaders, or let's say the respective presidents in the West African countries, may have the final say on the introduction of the ECO. This is because there will be an ECOWAS heads of state meeting after the gathering by the finance ministers and central bank governors meeting. But will they ignore all these economic issues and go ahead with the issuance of the currency? One can talk about the current fight over which country should have the right to host the central bank for the ECOWAS region, that is Ghana or Nigeria. Again, which country is going to use its international reserves to back the ECO? And what about the convergence criteria? Should all member countries in the English-speaking bloc meet all these targets before the currency is issued? Then maybe one may say that the 2020 deadline could elude us, bringing the number of times that the currency issuance have been postponed to more than 6 times since the year 2000.
Now, Ghana's largest cocoa processing company, that's the Cocoa Processing Company, is to increase its output capacity following the receipt of a $70 million Afro-Exim financial support. According to the managing director of CPC, Nana Ejinim Boateng, the company will eventually hit 81,000-ton capacity up from the current capacity of 64,500. Mr. Boateng has been speaking with my colleague Sheila Tamaklo.
With the support of the government and the sector minister, we've got some facilities which, in course of time, on your questions, we will respond. Afraism is giving us $70 million for us to increase the whole output and retool some of the machinery, meaning that we'll have room for expansion. So now, the Afraism level is in the due diligence process. We've gone far, cleared everything. Now we are doing the machinery and the legal levels. From that level, when it's cleared, that's where then the disbursements come in. So I can say that all in all, latest, if not by March and then first week April, was started. And what is going to happen is that we will be using these funds on CAPEX to retool some of the old and obsolete machinery during the Kwame Nkrumah time, then also expand. So the current capacity of 64,500 will increase to 81,000. We also want to increase the confectionery from 3,000 to 15,000 because Ghanaians have accepted the market, and also we are having some contrast from outside, which would necessitate that we need to do an expansion.
Now, to enhance economic empowerment of the physically challenged, MTN Momo has provided disability-friendly kiosks, mobile phones, and 4,000 Ghana Cedi cash to some persons with disability as a business startup fund. Now, according to the General Manager of MTN Mobile Money Service, Elihene, this will further help drive government's financial inclusion agenda.
According to the Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, the disabled population in Ghana is estimated about 1/5 of the country's population, being people with disabilities or emotional disability. MTN Ghana is giving away a disability-friendly kiosk, mobile phone, and 400 Ghana Cedis cash to some persons with disabilities to enable them start their own businesses as mobile money agents. Speaking at the presentation ceremony in Accra, the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Ignatius Bafo Ewa, urged businesses to equally employ people with disabilities. He said government has shown the way by employing people with disabilities at the various toll booths in the country.
The national employment policy sees persons with disability as persons who cannot compete at the same level with the able persons. And therefore, we urge all employers to look at them and give them some special dispensation. I do know for a fact that as a policy, 50% of persons manning the toll booths are persons with disability. I haven't been personally to all toll booths in the country, but at least the one that I pass by all the time, I really can attest to the fact that persons with disabilities have been engaged and are working there.
The CEO of Mobile Money Service, Elihene, noted the gesture will help drive the financial inclusion agenda of the country.
We sort of looked at a project that is sustainable. So we thought the agent business would be sustainable because it's a business that you can continue to do and grow. And so once we can support them with the seed money, then they themselves can build capital if they are disciplined. We're also doing some project with Agric. And for the Agric projects, we've started something with the cocoa farmers, which is very advanced now. We've also commenced some work with the poultry farmers in the Bronga halfway area.
Some beneficiaries said this initiative will help them become financially independent. They called on other organizations to adopt this initiative.
It's for me to really prove myself to the outside world that I can do something. And this is also going to help me to stop being dependent on my mother, who has been taking care of me from ever since I had this diagnosis of psychosocial disability.
It's a welcome news to me, and then it is going to impact my life and my family.
Some of us have been off work for about 2-3 years ago, and it's been hectic. Society looking down upon you because you're not working and all that. And I think this is a great one, and I would urge other private sectors to also look at what MTN has done.
This project, according to Mr. Hine, is also a way of helping people to acquaint themselves with the processes of mobile money. Albert Bisiu's report for Joy Business.
In other news tonight, the 2020 population and housing census, originally scheduled for March 2020, has been postponed to June this year. The change in date follows observations from the completed field census mapping exercise and also attempts to redesign technological interventions required for complete coverage, enhanced accuracy, and timely release of the census results. Let's hear from government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni.
Ghana Statistical Service, in consultation with the National Steering Committee for the 2020 Population and Housing Census, has rescheduled the 2020 Population and Housing Census from March 2020 to the month of June 2020. Specifically, we're going to start the listing of structures in Ghana on 15th of June 2020, and this exercise will span for a 2-week period. What this means is that we're going to have the census 9th occurring on 28th of June 2020. What we mean by the census 9th is that the data collection that is going to precede the listing exercise would have to make reference to a particular date, and that reference date will be 28th of June 2020. So we're going to proceed with a 2-week enumeration of all persons in Ghana from Monday, the 29th of June 2020 to Sunday, the 12th of July 2020.
Now, following the outbreak of the deadly coronavirus, there are still concerns the epidemic will have dire consequences on China's economy and eventually impact global supply chains and lead to a slowdown in the world economic growth. Now, China's GDP alone accounts for around 16% of the global market and contributes over 30% to the world economic growth. So what is the real impact of the coronavirus on China? Spokesperson at the Chinese Embassy in Ghana, Dr. Zhu Yuan, has been speaking with Joy Business.
I believe our economy fundamentals that support China's long-term growth will remain unchanged. And we are capable of minimizing the epidemic's impact on our economy. You see, recently the IMF and World Bank speak highly on the China's economy, and China's efforts to contain the outbreak.
And that's it for Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Thanks for watching once again, and thanks for staying with us here at the Multimedia Group Limited as we celebrate 25 years of media excellence. We'll see you same time tomorrow.